Hey, what's going on everyone? This is iReviews back with another video, and today we're doing a follow-up on iOS 16.3. Now this update has just been released to the public a few days ago. Even though it's a 0.3 update and we expected it to be quite big, it didn't actually bring a lot of new features and changes, but we still got the update, and let's go ahead and take a look at it and see how it's doing after a few days that it has been released to the public. First off, we're taking a look at some features and changes that we have missed on the previous videos. This one right here, this notification from the settings app, I never got this before on my device, and I got this on iOS 16.3. I'm not 100% sure that it is part of 16.3, but this is the first time I'm getting this notification from the settings app, basically emergency SOS. And that is when you make an emergency call and you cancel it, or you just make one by accident, it will show this notification, which basically will let you know that you have initiated an emergency SOS call. And it also says that if you don't want to use the side button and the volume button to automatically make an emergency call, you can turn them off by going to the settings app. So this is basically new in my opinion, because I never got this notification before. Let me know right down below in the comment section if you got this notification before iOS 16.3 or not. Another notification that I have been getting since updating to iOS 16.3 is one from Focus, which basically would suggest me to enable the focus mode while playing a game. So anytime I will start playing a game on my iPhone, a few minutes after started playing, it will show me this notification right here, which basically suggests to use smart activation to turn on gaming focus while I'm gaming on my iPhone. There is also this new splash screen for the Maps app. It introduced rating and photos to the Maps app, basically letting you know that you can just contribute by adding photos and ratings to places and things like that. And we have another change here, and this is for the HomePod. This is part of the HomePod 16.3 update. Now the climate sensor will work as it's supposed to with iOS 16.3 and of course HomePod OS 16.3. So if you have a HomePod, make sure you update if you want this to work as it should. Now before we move to the bad side of iOS 16.3, because this update is not as good as I thought it would be initially, let's talk about some of the bigger fixes that iOS 16.3 will bring to your device, and stuff of course that it has already fixed. So this right here on the lock screen, a lot of users have been reporting this. The wallpaper on the lock screen just showing total black. Now that has been fixed with iOS 16.3. If you had that problem on your device, you can now fix that simply by updating to iOS 16.3. iOS 16.3 will also fix a bug for the home lock screen widget, which didn't accurately display the home app status. Now that has been fixed. If you use the home app, that has been fixed, which is really good. Another fix, which is really important on Siri with iOS 16.2, this was quite a big bug. A lot of people have been experiencing this, where Siri would not play the music that you requested. Now that has been fixed with iOS 16.3. And also another bug with Siri, where Siri might not understand your requests when using it on CarPlay, so that has been fixed as well. And of course it also fixes the bug with the screen on the iPhone 14 Pros, where the screen would just show like random lines, which was not a hardware bug, it actually was a software bug, and thankfully it has been now fixed with iOS 16.3. And now let's move to the bad side of iOS 16.3, and let's hope we actually get a new update really soon, because we have a lot of bugs and a lot of issues that people are facing with iOS 16.3. Now before we get started and talk about specific bugs which a lot of people have been experiencing, first of all, we will talk about battery. Now, initially, when I installed iOS 16.3 on my device, the beta versions, it actually looked like the battery was quite stable. But since the RC version, which is basically the same version as the one that has been released to the public, battery life has actually not been that great. Now you can see right here with like 80, maybe 85% of battery, we got 7 hours right there, and all these was just like using simple apps, no gaming, and most of the time on Wi-Fi. So here we have also what we have here, like 65% battery, 5 hours. That's pretty good actually. But if you take a look at all these, we might have maybe maybe 30 minutes to an hour less battery life with iOS 16.3. And keep in mind that this is of course a new device with the battery health at 99%, and I have this concern reported by a lot of people. On YouTube comments, on Reddit, I've seen a lot of people concerned about the battery life that they're getting on iOS 16.3, which is actually worse than it was on iOS 16.2. Hopefully Apple will do something about it, but we're going to talk about the next updates in a few minutes. Now let's move on and talk about some of the specific bugs that a lot of users and me personally are facing with iOS 16.3. Now first of all, I will talk about a bug that has been bothering me a lot, and this has started happening since updating to the RC version of iOS 16.3, and that bug is with the always on display. This has never happened to me before since I got this device, but when my device is on the always on display here, it actually tends to turn the screen all black. So this of course will do that if I just cover the sensor here, so this will be done if you have your phone on your pocket, even though it's on the always on display. Basically when it has it's all dark, it will go ahead and just dim a lot, or if it's on your pocket, it will just turn off the screen completely. But it does that even when I have my phone laying on the table and there's plenty of light. It will actually just turn black completely and not even show the clock there. That will happen a few times a day, which is really bothering. So why having an always on display if you actually cannot use it? The iPhone will turn dark. Now we'll have to actually tap it in order to wake it up because you cannot see anything on the screen. Another bug here with the app library. Now you know that the app library on your iPhone will categorize the apps automatically, and you can see right here, if I go to health and fitness, there I have the podcast. Now normally when I would want to play or use the podcast app, I would go maybe to entertainment right here, and you can see I have all the music apps and everything here, but we have now podcast on the health and fitness section. I don't know what happened here, but I think that shouldn't be there. It should be actually under the entertainment section, which would make it way easier to find it. So if you're looking for it and if you're looking here, make sure to go ahead and check health and fitness. You will find your podcast app right there. Now here's another bug, and this one has been reported on Reddit. I'm not facing this problem myself, but I see on Reddit a lot of users reporting this. This bug will basically just make the button right here in the wallet and Apple Pay, the double click the side button to actually pay, will just make that section disappear. You can see this right here. It should be just here. It would say double click the side button, you can enable or disable it, but it has just disappeared with iOS 16.3. Some of the most common bugs that have been reported by users on iOS 16.3: 1. iCloud requiring passcode time after time, which it shouldn't. It will require maybe once in a while, but not a lot. Another one for GIFs on iMessage. A lot of users have been reporting this. When sending GIFs on iMessage, it would just show like blank text, and also double notifications from the email app. Now, had happened that bug before, not on iOS 16.3, it was way before, maybe iOS 16.1 or something like that, but it did happen to me. It hasn't happened recently, but I see a lot of users are still reporting that bug is here since basically the release of iOS 16, and it's still here with iOS 16.3. So what's next for iOS 16? Should we be concerned about this update, especially for the battery life, as I'm getting again a lot of reports from users having worse battery life with iOS 16.3 than it was on iOS 16.2. Well, my only concern is that Apple doesn't release any like smaller update in the meanwhile, because from now until the next update, probably it will be like a month and a half or maybe even 2 months when Apple should release iOS 16.4 to the public, because currently we don't have any beta. Probably we will get one next week for iOS 16.4, and then it should go at least 4 or 5 betas, the RC version, and then the public release. So we're probably like 6 to 8 weeks away from a release of another iOS update to the public. So hopefully Apple in the meanwhile will release like a smaller update, and of course fix some of the bugs that are currently happening on iOS 16.3, and of course maybe even have a fix for better battery life on iOS 16.3. Hopefully, and 16.3.1 update should be coming on this way pretty soon. Of course, in the meanwhile, we have to wait for iOS 16.4, which hopefully will even have way more new features and changes than iOS 16.3 did. So that's basically it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this update, how it has been working on your device, is it good or not, and whether you regret updating to iOS 16.3 from iOS 16.2 or not. So that's basically it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you on the next one.